जी, अस्सलाम वालेकुम everyone. I hope I'm audible to everyone. Perfect. Okay. So, assalamu alaikum everyone, and welcome to uh, the corporate briefing session for the first quarter results of agro fertilizers. Uh, I'm sure most of you have seen our results, which we sort of posted on Tuesday morning. Uh, So I'll just go through the pack. It's a very, very brief pack, and we'll try and cover certain aspects of how the quarter went by. And then we can take the questions. The format will be similar to the last quarters, which we've always had. Uh, you can ask questions on the chat, please. So most of the questions can be responded by my team, and we can save time of everyone. But at the end of the session, we will open up the forum for questions. So if there are any questions left, and we can take them at that time. So starting off with the presentation highlights. So this is how the agenda looks like, similar to what we've always had. Some highlights, some details on business performance, then some contributions, and then we'll end up with the Q&A session for this particular quarter. So before we move on to agro fertilizers specifically, I think just a basic sort of rundown of how the economy looks like. So inflation has been under control. I think that's one good news for all of us. It's going on fine from where we are. Exchange rate has remained stable over the past year period or so. Policy rate has continued to come down, so we're currently at 12%, which came down in January, and the index has also performed decently well, and it's been stable, barring the recent blips and turns, but still, it's been somewhat stable. So that has been the macroeconomic sort of landscape. But when you come specifically to the agri economy, which particularly impacts agro fertilizers, so the input cost of the farmers. So you would recall we've been talking about this for the past, I think, couple of our analyst briefings, that the farmer community is the worst hit over the past year or so, primarily because of the support prices, which they were expecting to come in wheat last year in 24 first quarter, but then we entered into a free market sort of mechanism, and that did not happen, and then that's where the initial dent came in for the farmers. But having said that, that sort of process continues, and even as we speak now, there's still no support price from the government. I think that's the new way of working, and again, the wheat prices have been low this year. Uh, but having said that, where the pricing and the revenue side of the farmers is lower, the cost side has not sort of helped them also. So where we've seen the inflation numbers maybe not as high as last year's and whatnot, but still those numbers were already very high for the farmer. And with the taking away of support prices on the other side, the margins have squeezed a lot for the farmer, and that is where the biggest challenge comes in for the entire industry. So these are the two major challenges which industry faces, and you understand when there's a financial challenge on the pocket of the consumer or the farmer, sort of the buying pattern changes, and that all of that has resulted in the numbers you see, and I'll talk about it later also in the later slides. Uh, the other very important thing which we all are familiar with, and not only us, a lot of industries and people are being hit by it, which is climate change. We all can feel the increased heat pressures and the cold winters, and the sort of timings have also changed, and that also has impacted very much to the products and the crops we have, the sowing patterns and the losses on the products, and on agri products also. So that continues to haunt us. And recently you would also know that the rains which were expected have not come in so far, and that also is a challenge. And we sincerely hope and wish and pray that the climate sort of normalizes as we move forward. Uh, And all of this results in an inventory pileup, because when the farmer has challenge on its pocket, when the sowing patterns are different, when the climate is also impacting people, rains are not coming to us also, so then the buying pattern slows down, and that results in inventory pileup. So that is a brief summary of where the industry is, and the challenges of the industry. But now coming specifically to our products, and also as with the industry. So you see, in terms of urea, you see there's a massive dip in terms of Q1 last year as compared to this year. So around 700,000 tons, around 40% of the industry is down in terms of sales. Uh, Agro sales is also down. So we had a market share roughly around 30%. This particular quarter, we are at 24%. We have a lower market share. You would appreciate the fact that we've always been discussing this in the past also, that we have the most expensive gas, and so our urea is also the most expensive. So it normally gets picked up the last. Uh, where we have sort of tried to provide certain incentives to our customers, and that's why we've been able to retain certain market share. But the market share has seen a dip because of these of the challenges in the market. But the biggest challenge you see is the dip in the overall market as compared to the last quarter. That's a sizable dip, and when you sort of translate that into the inventory position, so you see the inventory last quarter this year was around 174,000 tons, which is now around 800,000 tons. So you can see the massive shift, and the basic challenge the industry is facing. Yes, as agro fertilizers, we are facing the biggest, the most of the challenge on this part, where we've got lower sales. We also have definitely in consequently, we also have a higher market inventory share. So we're holding around 50% of the inventory which the market is holding at this point in time. But having said that, you can see very clearly that around 800,000 tons means that the entire industry has slowed down, and this particular quarter has been a challenge for the players. If I move on to the other sort of major sort of component of our product base is DAP. Again, DAP, if you see the the decline in sales is around 50% as compared to last year. It's a sizable dip. And we've also seen a dip in our market share, which is you see on the right-hand side of the screen. And so private importers have, yes, gained market share. They've taken our share, taken us from in 2025. They were 7% last year, and we were 29% roughly, and now we're down to 18, and they're gone up to 18%. So private importers have, yes, taken up our share. I'm sure they've sort of offloaded their product at lesser margins maybe, but that is where the dent has come in. But the more important thing is, because the margins can continue to move up and down, but you see that the bigger challenge is the market, which has shrunk. The market has shrunk by 50% on the DAP, and that is the biggest sort of alarming thing. And the application of DAP we've seen has been lower, quite lower as compared to last year in this year. So two major sort of challenges, which have resulted in our very low revenue as compared to last year. So as I mentioned, urea sales has been lower, DAP has been lower, so that sort of translates into a lower revenue. Consequently, very low profitability, because the margins have been very low, especially on the DAP side. Uh, and EPS definitely is just consequential. So lower profit means lower EPS, but the market cap sort of has remained somewhat the same as compared to last quarter of the last year. And but we earned around 2.17 rupees of earnings, and we declared a dividend of 2.25. So we continue to sort of distribute whatever we've earned this quarter, and make sure that our investors sort of get the returns in the due manner. Uh, some sort of basic analysis, because these are the basic analysis. So revenue has dropped because lower sales in urea and DAP. We just discussed this. depressed farmer economics. Gross profit is has decreased by 38%, not as low as revenue, but and the reason primarily is you would recall last year there was an imported urea. Urea was imported by the government, which was then sold out by the industry players, and the loss had sort of was recorded in Q1 because the sale was happened in Q1 and then the recovery happened over a period of time. So the GP last year was actually lower. So that's why you don't see that bigger dip in gross profit as compared to last quarter. Net profit again has been in similar numbers, though the net profit number was very high last year, but the margins were low. And again, similar reason to what I displayed on I mentioned upon gross profit, because of imported urea, the net profit was also lower. But if you exclude that, then profit would have been much higher, which is our normal range of profits. Uh, One more important thing I think is very, very important here to mention is the fact that you people, I'm sure, must, because now, as per the new reporting requirements, you just don't put the P&L out, you also put the balance sheet out. I'm sure people must have noticed the increased gearing numbers, the higher running finances, and whatnot. So I'm sure you all can sort of easily sort of figure it out that the increased running finance is primarily attributable to our increased inventories, which we hold as at quarter end. But I think that the more important thing is to mention the fact that if you look at our debt to EBITDA numbers, that's still very, very healthy. And and to be honest, the numbers and the performance we see this particular quarter was something which we did anticipate. We could see slowdown in the market. We could sense. I'm sure the numbers are little lower than what we expected, but generally they have been in line. And especially and when I talk of our gearing also. This is also in line with what we had sort of anticipated, and we did expect some sort of inventory pile-up happening in this particular quarter. So so having said that, the I think the one of the more important things is the fact that in Pakistan, the application of urea and the economic demand has generally remained over a 6 million, 6.1, 6.2 million number on a yearly basis. So first quarter, yes, has been slow, has been lower as compared to last year's. But historically, the next quarters have always been a source of catch up, and we are entering into Kharif season now. So inshallah, we feel that going forward, the numbers should be better than what we've posted this particular quarter. Brief sort of update on the contributions to the next national exchequer. So we're again a company we sort of make sure that we pay our taxes and duties on time. So we've contributed accordingly. Uh, as an industry, we still provide a lot of sort of benefit to our farmers. So if urea was imported today in Pakistan, it would be around 8,000 rupees landed cost, give or take. And so we provide urea at a much lower price. So that sort of continues to help our farmers and shield them from the higher sort of costs. Uh, Brief updates on our two major sort of initiatives. So you would recall we mentioned this also in our previous analyst briefing, also in our AGM. So we have our sort of our brick and mortar offices. So we've got 4 offices by the name of Anglo Markaz. We opened them last year, so they're in operation. Which ensures product availability at all times. Entire sort of chain of products are available there, and there's guidance also available for our farmers on a 24/7 basis. In addition to the brick and mortar, the other thing which we're always very excited about is our Ugai platform, which is our AI-based platform, which not only sort of provides an opportunity for our farmers to buy directly from us, but also gives them value-added initiatives and opportunities to get more insights on their own farming techniques and help them sort of increase their productivity and their sort of yields to the farms. So Alhamdulillah, both of these things are sort of going well uh, and uh, and gradually sort of moving in the right direction, which we have sort of planned internally also. Uh, Last but not the least, I think it's an update on the pressure enhancement facility, which is basically the solution to medium to long term of our gas supply. And so the project is currently on track. Alhamdulillah, it's a sizable investment by the industry. We're part of it. So it was broken into two phases. So scope one of phase one is complete. Scope two of phase one should be complete, inshallah, this quarter. We're on track. And phase two has also started in parallel, and the procurement of compressors is in progress. So, Alhamdulillah, this particular project has been has been a great initiative by the entire industry, very well coordinated. It's going very well, Alhamdulillah, and we are confident that it should be complete within the timelines which we had committed. So this sort of brings an end to the presentation. So I'll just stop here and we'll just try and take some questions from here. Right. So, Mr. Salim, if you can sort of introduce yourself, please, and go ahead with your question, please.
Hello, Assalamualaikum. I'm Salim Sami from Providus Capital. So,
Sure,
sir,
please.
मेरा सवाल regarding the gross margins था. इस क्वार्टर भी आपके लास्ट क्वार्टर के हिसाब से similar margins are around 35%. So, is there any improvement in the overall costing that, and we should expect similar level of margins from this quarter onwards? या फिर कोई दोबारा से एडजस्टमेंट हुई थी रिगार्डिंग दी ऑपरेटिंग लेवल या फिर ग्रोस लेवल पे?
नहीं, कोई एडजस्टमेंट नहीं. देखिए, मैं एक्चुअली आपको कल ही क्लियर किया था कि फर्स्ट क्वार्टर ऑफ लास्ट ईयर से मैं कंपेयर कर रहा था. सो वहाँ से डेफिनेटली एडजस्टमेंट है, बिकॉज वहाँ पे इम्पोर्ट एरिया था, लेकिन वैसे एडजस्टमेंट कोई नहीं.
ओके सर. एंड सर रिगार्डिंग द इन्वेंट्री लेवल्स अभी ऑलरेडी एंग्रो की इन्वेंट्री हाई है, तो वुड इट मेक मोर सेंस कि आप अगर प्लांट अपना क्लोज कर दें टू सेव ऑन फाइनेंस कॉस्ट एंड योर टू मैनेज योर फिक्स्ड कॉस्ट, या ऐसा कोई प्लान है नहीं अभी?
देखिए, नहीं, देखिए, प्लांट क्लोजर तो इज अ वेरी वेरी सीरियस स्टेप, यू अंडरस्टैंड, ठीक है. एंड देखिए, we've got sort of ample sort of opportunities and facilities to make sure that we can sort of store our inventory. And as I said, it's more of a timing difference which happens in the industry. It's a normal thing. So I think इतना बड़ा कंसर्न नहीं है कि वो आप प्लांट बंद तब करते हैं लगता है कि बिल्कुल आप लिक्विडिटी क्रंच में आ गए हैं, चीज़ें हो गई हैं, एंड देन यू गो फॉर दोज स्टेप्स. लेकिन आई डोंट सी अ रीज़न फॉर अस टू गो, एज आई मेंशन इन ऑल्सो इन प्रेजेंटेशन, कि ये एक्सपेक्टेशन थी हमारी कि दिस विल बिल्ड अप, and it's more or less, I won't say completely, because that would, if I would lying to say that, lekin it's more in line with what we'd expected, give or take certain percentages. So it's nothing more surprising for us. So we've planned accordingly, and we don't see a reason we should be forced to shut down the plant at any point.
Okay, so and are you expecting these inventory levels to go down in the coming quarters, या फिर एक जो दूसरा ऑप्शन? Okay, so is there any possibility कि in case कि अगर inventory high रहती है आपकी, तो is there any possibility that you will be able to export this inventory?
देखिए, export is a good option, and but you also understand the fact export in the urea industry is not a normal thing, right? It has happened in the past, a couple of, I think 6, 7, 8 years ago, maybe a decade ago. It has happened, and when the inventory sort of piles up to a certain level, I'm sure the authorities in the government understand, and then they allow for exports also. So that's something which is definitely on the cards. And I won't say we won't export, but definitely that's something. But that would require certain approvals in the process to take place. But that's something, if that inventory piles to a certain level, so that's something which definitely we'll pursue.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. G, Mr. Waleed, I think, yeah, you were next.
Assalamualaikum, sir. Thank you. Sir, in the last briefing, you mentioned that Efert was
Sorry, can you please introduce yourself, please?
Ji, I'm Waleed from Maple Leaf Capital.
Okay.
in your last briefing, you mentioned that Efert was considering giving discounts. So, can you please give a clarity on how much the discount was offered by Efert in the first quarter, and will these discounts continue in the second quarter? Plus, what is your expectation for the overall industry? That like, where will the urea offtake stand at the end of the year? Will it be over what the industry achieved in 24 or less?
Okay. देखिए discounts, as I mentioned, discounts तो हमने we've been giving discounts in the first quarter. We are giving some discounts also as we speak. The amount varies based on the demand and supply and the inventory levels. So it varies. And we have been offering discounts. हमने in the first quarter पूरे quarter discounts नहीं देते हमने. There was a period when we did not give discount and then we gave some discount. So that's continuing. And as we speak, that is also continuing as of now. The other thing which you asked about the number of in terms of the sale for the entire year, देखिए last year जितनी sales तो I think expect करना will be difficult. Reason being because you've seen the first quarter the sales has been very low. There is a maximum requirement which just the soil can take. So I wouldn't I would be right to say कि वो level ऐसे नहीं आता हमें. It would be a level a little lower than what it was last year. But having said that, अगर आप पिछले 8-10 साल के analysis करें अगर आप industry का, so the industry has always been over 6.1 million, 6.2 million tons on an average basis. So it's a I think last year it was 6.5 million if I'm not wrong. So between 6.2 and 6.5 is the number which I think we should expect. ठीक है जी अब्दुल्ला साहब.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम अब्दुल्ला है फ्रॉम एनबीपी फंड्स. मेरा इसी से फॉलोअप क्वेश्चन है जो आपने अभी यूरिया की मार्केट आउटलुक पे बात की है कि लास्ट ईयर तो 6.5 मिलियन टन था बट उसमें आई थिंक 2,20,000 टन इंपोर्टेड यूरिया का था, राइट? तो कंसिडरिंग द फैक्ट इस साल तो यूरिया के डोमेस्टिक की जो है वो डिमांड ऐसा जितनी डिप्रेस है तो शायद इंपोर्ट का तो बिल्कुल भी चांस नहीं बनता. एंड दूसरी चीज़ ये कि ख़रीफ सीज़न में भी अगेन गवर्नमेंट जो है किसान कार्ड दोबारा से लॉन्च कर रही है. और फिर पिछले सीज़न में भी हमने ये देखा कि साल के 10 महीने तक यूरिया की ऑफटेक बहुत ज़्यादा डिप्रेस रही थी. फिर लास्ट 45-50 डेज़ में यूरिया ऑफटेक अपलिफ्ट हो गई थी. तो एनुअलाइज बेसिस के ऊपर इतना फ़र्क नहीं पड़ा था. तो आपको इस तरह का फिनोमिना लग रहा है कि बाय द एंड ऑफ द ईयर के ये चीज़ कंपनसेट हो जाएगी ड्यू टू किसान कार्ड एंड ऑल दिस इनिशिएटिव, या 5-10% का एक डेंट आएगा ओवरऑल इंडस्ट्री की ऑफटेक पे एज कम्पेरेटिव टू लास्ट ईयर?
नहीं देखिए again I said because first quarter has ended now, right? So we've already passed 100 days in this particular year. So I think I said कि catch up would be मेरे हिसाब से would be very difficult. That's our view. But as I mentioned कि it's a range between 6.2 to 6.5, right? तो 2-3 लाख टन का ऊपर नीचे डिफरेंस है, राइट? अब वो कहाँ पे जाके एंड होता है, वो 6.4 पे एंड होता है, 6.3 पर 6.5 पे होता है, डिफिकल्ट फॉर टू से. लेकिन एज सेड इट कैन नॉट द एक्सपेक्टेशन इट विल नॉट गो बियॉन्ड लास्ट ईयर. आई थिंक दैट्स द एक्सपेक्टेशन, इट विल स्टे विद इन दैट लेवल्स.
Okay, great. And lastly, with regards to your SMA allowance that you were giving since last few quarters, जब से यूरिया मार्केट एक डिप्रेसिंग उसमें गई है ट्रेजेक्ट्री में, और काफ़ी अदर प्लेयर्स ने भी ऑफर कर रहा है, और आगे आपने फर्स्ट क्वार्टर में किया. यहाँ से गोइंग फॉरवर्ड क्योंकि खरीफ सीजन में भी यही लग रहा है कि फार्मर का वर्किंग कैपिटल नहीं निकल पा रहा है ड्यू टू वीट, और लोग शायद स्टोरेज वगैरह कर रहे हैं. तो आपको लग रहा है आपको यू हैव टू ऑफर SMA फॉर सेकेंड क्वार्टर एज वेल?
देखिए अब्दुल साहब, पॉइंट ये कि अंडरस्टैंड देखिए डिस्काउंट्स इज अ सब्जेक्ट व्हिच you only offer when you feel there's a need for it, right? By design, we do not offer discounts. So we continue to monitor this on a very, very sort of regular basis and very closely monitor कर रहे होते हैं in terms of market, in terms of what the offtakes are. So whatever is best for the organization, we'll do that. अब अगर उसमें लगता है कि discount दे के sell करना बेहतर है for our product and for the company, we'll do that. If we feel कि yeah, it's better not to give discounts and we want to and just play on the normal sort of delivery side, we'll do that. I think that's something which the market will determine primarily rather than us, because we want to just make sure that we are best placed to optimize our returns for our shareholders. And that's what we do. So discounts is definitely one way of achieving that.
Understood. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. जी मिस्टर फ़खर।
Yes, hello, sir. This is Fakhru Hussain from Alfala Investments. How are you, sir?
वेरी वेल वेरी वेल।
Sir, most of my questions have been answered, discount pricing se related and inventory se related. Sir, I just wanted to discuss जो country में wheat issue चल रहा है. We go through newspapers daily. There were a lot of editorials, opinions वगैरह, right? तो उसमें ये मेंशन था that government is looking forward कि maybe ये जो wheat pricing में सारा issue चल रहा है, government would look to resolve that. But yesterday when I was going through Dawn, उसमें लिखा हुआ था कि the government has defended the decision वो जो wheat pricing के लिए किया हुआ in the Punjab Assembly. Sir, wheat का क्या issue है? Because we have to realize that because जो हमारे लिए wheat is one of our main agriculture crops. एंड अगर वीट नहीं यूज हो रही, वीट का सीजन भी आ रहा है, तो यूरिया का मतलब फार्मर्स कब तक किसी और एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्ट के लिए इसको यूज करते रहेंगे. एंड जैसे आप देखें कि जितनी हमारे पास, आई वाज गोइंग थ्रू बैलेंस शीट एज वेल, वी एज ऑफ मार्च वी हैव कोई 20-25 अरब की इन्वेंट्री पड़ी हुई है, एंड द शॉर्ट टर्म डेट इज लाइक ऑन द सेम हैंड 30 अरब का शॉर्ट टर्म डेट है, which I completely understand what the company is doing here right now. बट वी हैव लाइक वी नीड अ व्यू फॉर दिस ईयर के कंपनी, मतलब कि ठीक है आपने 6.1 6.2 बिलियन का नंबर बताया कि हम इस साल पे देख सकते हैं. बट इफ वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट ईफर्ट स्पेसिफिकली, ईफर्ट इज केपेबल ऑफ सेलिंग अराउंड 2.2 2.3. तो वो नंबर कितना, 2 मिलियन तक आ जाएगा, 1.8 1.9, वो नंबर कहाँ तक देख सकते हैं? और ये वीट पे क्या इशू है? बिकॉज अगर वीट का इशू सॉल्व नहीं होता गोइंग फॉरवर्ड दिस ईयर में, अगर फॉर एग्जांपल वी गॉट लाइक 9 more months to go, 8-9 months more to go, अगर वीट का इशू सॉल्व नहीं होता, देन ऑब्वियसली हम यूरिया के ऊपर तो कुछ व्यू बना नहीं सकते, बिकॉज आप कितना ही फार्मर कहीं और यूज कर लेगा, एक बात है. एंड
देखिए वीट,
उसके ऊपर हमें क्लैरिटी बिल्कुल नहीं आ रही कि गवर्नमेंट उसके बारे में क्या सोच रही है, बिकॉज फार्मर्स ऑब्वियसली डिसअपॉइंटेड. ऑन द अदर हैंड, आप डिस्काउंट पे भी दे रहे हैं. एज पर माई नॉलेज, एज पर माई रिसोर्सेज, व्हाट आई हैव got to know is कि Efert is selling at the same price, around the same price as FFC right now. वही 44-50 के प्राइस पे बेच रहा है. तो वो तो Efert तो बेच रहा है, बट द थिंग इज दैट फार्मर don't see the reason to buy. I've talked to a lot of farmers as well in Punjab. वो उनका यही व्यू है कि हम यूरिया ले तो लें, यूरिया का इशू नहीं है, प्राइसिंग का इशू नहीं है. इस वक्त इशू ये है कि लगाया कहाँ जाए. एंड देयर मेन कंस्ट्रेंट इज कि हम तो वीट लगाते थे, वीट के लिए ये इशू बना हुआ है. तो उस पर आपका क्या व्यू है सर, इफ यू डोंट माइंड टेलिंग?
देखिए ये तो थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट होगा फॉर मी टू आंसर है कि गवर्नमेंट क्या सोच रही है, लेकिन हमारा तो डेफिनेटली, जो आपने बिल्कुल सही बात की, वी आर द इफेक्टिव्स ऑफ दिस प्राइमरली. बिकॉज पहली बात तो ये मैं आपको क्लियर कर दूं कि जो स्विचिंग बिटवीन प्रोडक्ट्स है ये बड़ा डिफिकल्ट होता है फॉर द फार्मर, राइट? बिकॉज इट्स नॉट सिंपल दैट यू कैन ग्रो वीट वन डे एंड द अदर प्रोडक्ट सम अदर डे, राइट? सो देव तो एक सर्टन परसेंट, बहुत छोटी परसेंटेज होगी मे बी जो शायद कन्वर्ट कर पाएगी. मेजॉरिटी पीपल सॉर्ट ऑफ हैव टू लिव इन वन इन व्हाटएवर दे हैव बीन ग्रोइंग. So I'm sure that there's certain plans with the government which I'm not privy to, and what they have plans to how to solve this problem. But you're completely right that impacts the entire farmer economics. And देखें जब farmer के पास पैसे होंगे तो the farmer will invest more and more, right? So we've seen that happen in the past. Let's say the last quarter, sorry, first quarter of last year की जब बात करें, जब हमारे रिजल्ट्स बहुत अच्छे थे. So the results अच्छे क्यों थे हमारे? It was not because we were providing something extra, because the farmer and the consumer community had have money on their hands. So they were buying all sort of products. They were buying our DAP, they were buying our other products. So because they wanted to invest more and more and get better yield, the moment उनकी उनकी पॉकेट्स पे चैलेंज आया, उन्होंने ऑटोमेटिकली जितना स्लो कर सकते थे स्लो कर लिया. And they move more now to a just in time basis, and maybe at times also reduce the application because they feel कि input cost जहाँ बचा सकते बचा लें वो, ताकि उनका जो मार्जिन भी लो है, जैसे आपने भी कहा. तो ये एक देखिए चैलेंज है. और जब तक इस पे कोई, या तो ये है कि जब तक कि एक दो साइकिल्स निकल नहीं जाएंगे, बिकॉज आपको पता है जब फ्री मार्केट की जब बात करते हैं प्राइसेस स्टेबलाइज होने में टेक्स टाइम ऑल्सो, बिकॉज इट इज अ जर्क विच हैपेंस ऑल्सो. सो वी होपफुल कि इट डज सॉर्ट ऑफ नॉर्मलाइज इन द टाइम्स टू कम. सो दैट्स वन पार्ट ऑफ द आंसर. दूसरी पार्ट आपने कहा कि देखिए एंग्रो कितना बेचेगा 6.2 एंड 2.2. I'm sure if you ask this question to any other fertilizer player, they'll say कि we'll sell the most. So definitely that's every player wants to do that. We want to maximize on definitely our sales, right? And as I said कि अब कितना हम eventually कर पाते हैं, कितना हम sell कर पाते हैं, वो तो time will tell. But that's what we are here for, to make sure that we maximize our opportunities in the business. And as I said कि not sort of being detrimental to our returns and our stakeholders' incomes. Whatever we can do best, we'll do. So the idea is definitely is to go as much as we can sell. बट उसका तरीका तो आसान भी हो सकता है ना कि आप अगर आप कोई बात है जैसे आपने अभी डिस्काउंट्स की बात की बहुत ज़्यादा डिस्काउंट्स देके भी आपको सेल इन्वेंट्री ऑफ बट डज नॉट मेक सेंस एट टाइम्स so इसलिए so it will be a trade off between two and where A to maximize our sales but definitely B is to also make sure that we sort of take care of our P&L also.
Okay, so thank you.
So any other question from anyone? Okay. Okay. I think so. Perfect. I think so. I think then if there are no more questions, then I think we can end it here. So thank you everyone for joining. It was a pleasure connecting with all of you, and inshallah see you all again with our Q2 results and hoping for better results inshallah next time. Thank you very much. Khudafis.